have those authors whose books are so good, we say, hey, I want to get their entire catalog. And listen, I have 3 authors. I may have to turn this into parts because there's so many, but there are 3 main authors whose entire book catalog I want to get, and we must keep their work alive. We are assigned to continue to support their work, to study their work, use it in literature studies or for entertainment, to be informative, educational, and still enjoy it in a fun way. And I have 3 of those. I want to show you those 3 today. So stay tuned so you can get to see who they are, and let me know in the chat which authors or who are some authors. I can't get which W I want to use. Who are some authors who you want to get their entire catalog of, and do you already have some of their entire catalog? If you are new here, I'm Darnaya, Darice, first name, middle name. Thank you so much for joining, tuning in. Listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit my button. I know some of you are casually filling me out. Girl, sis, bro, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you for joining the DD crew, because over here, listen, I do bookish content, I do motivational content, productivity, just all the things that keep us going, keep us encouraged, keep us, staying in the positive lane, okay? Because we need it, all right? Now, let's get into these 3 authors that I want to get their entire collection. And the first one is Richard Wright. I'm going to pop him on the screen. Richard Wright, now he lived between the early 1900s to 1960. And this guy's life, how short it was just astounding to me. Like, he has been through something. Obviously, everyone in their life at some point goes through something. But this guy's life, our author here, okay, the Honorable Richard Wright, from childhood on up. Listen, I have Native Son. This is the first book that I own by Richard Wright. And I heard his name for years, even in grade school, in college, but I never read his work. This is on my TBR for this month. This will be my first book by his. And what made me think of this video idea actually is because I read the back. In the last page, this is the Vintage Classics copy. In the back, it has a short little paragraph about Richard Wright. And it starts off, at 4 years of age, Richard Wright set fire to his home in a moment of boredom. At 5, his father deserted the family. By 6, Richard was temporarily an alcoholic, moved from home to home, from brick tenement to orphanage, and then he ended up moving with his grandparents in Jackson. And if you read on Wikipedia, they have it listed that he accidentally set fire to his grandparents' home. And so you see the up and down. And then his education, he didn't have like straight continuous education like we normally know of today, but when he actually did go to school, he was actually picked for class valedictorian at one point, and he stood up for himself because the principal there wanted to already had a speech prepared for him, and Richard Wright was like, no, the students, the class want to hear from me. They want to hear my words. And so listen, you see the activism, which some people look at as rebellion, or a child being rebellious, is actually them stepping up into their own activism, okay, if you will. But that led me to like, hey, I want to get a lot of authors' entire catalog, and I want to get Richard Wright's. So I'm going to throw up some of his works on the screen. Another work that I don't have yet is Black Boy. I want to read that, and there are like different copies and editions, different variations of this. I also want to get the variation. There's a different variation of Native Son. I want to get that copy too, because I love the image of the guy on the main cover, and it just sets the mood for this book. I'm excited to read this one. Now, I'm still reading The Ghostwriter, and it's getting pretty good. For that particular thriller. It's very much suspenseful, great storytelling. So it's not one of your fast, quick paced like S.A. Cosby type of thrillers or mysteries and suspense, but it's still good to me. All right. And so I'm going to get to this at some point this month. And he also has a short story collection called 8 Men Short Stories. I want to read that. And he also has a book that I found, 12 Million Black Voices. And I also want to get a biography that Hazel Raleigh wrote, and it's called Richard Wright, The Life and Times, and I'm interested in that. And so it's interesting because his father was a sharecropper and his mother was a teacher, which is kind of typical during that time. And I'm interested to read more about his life because his grandparents were Seventh-day Adventists. He was really frustrated with them because they were very strict. And if you know Seventh-day Adventists, guys, come on, let's get it together, okay? But I do want to get Richard's entire catalog. Let me know if you have any of Richard's work. Which one is your favorite? I can't wait to my September wrap up to give you my overview and initial thoughts of Native Son. All right, so the second author whose collection I want to get, and we can thank Lex Reads. If you follow Lex Reads, you know she gives some bomb recommendations, and I love the recommendations and the books that she reads because she's into classics, she's into some historical fiction, romance, and also works that are very profound, in depth. You can learn something from them. You can really learn something from any book, to be honest, if you pay attention. But I just love the works that she highlights on her channel, and she introduced me to Bernice L. McFadden. And if you've been following my channel, you know Sugar, it was on my September TBR, and I did a short, and mostly everyone picked Sugar for me to read first, and so I ended up reading this first. At the time of this video, it's Monday, September 8th, so I've already finished this. This is pretty short, but I took a few days to read this because I just didn't have as much time to read. But listen, this book is hilarious, and it reminds me of, if you're paying attention, if you got to see your great grandma or your grandmother or your great aunts interact, this what this book reminds me of. It told a story so well, and I'll give in my wrap up, I'll give an overview, but Lex Reads, how she talks about Bernice L. McFadden and the works that she mentioned about Bernice made me go look up Bernice. And it's funny because Bernice, this is actually her birthday month. Her birthday month, she's born in September. She's from Brooklyn, New York, okay? She's a Brooklynite like me. And so I do love that as well. And I did find out by doing my research on her, she has written like 15 novels, and she also has written novels under the humorous erotica genre, and her pseudonym under there is Geneva Holiday. So let me know if you read any of that work. But Lex Reads have brought up the Book of Harlan, and that is one book that sounded interesting to me because it talks about Black people, specifically this Black man Harlan, during the Holocaust and their interactions and dealings and mishaps within that. And so that sounded interesting. So I definitely want to read that. I also want to read Love and Donovan by her, and the This Bitter Earth. But she has other books like Camille Rose's, I think it's a book called Gathering in the Waters or Gathering of the Waters. So many others. I want to get her whole collection. Like, she's an excellent writer, and I'll suggest, this was her debut novel. For a debut novel, OMG, this was good, and it keeps your attention. Like, when it first starts, it's something tragic that happens. So if you have been a parents or been around loved ones that something tragic happened to, you want to go in with that in mind. But for a debut novel, listen, well written. She is an assistant professor at Tulane University as well in New Orleans, so that is interesting. So she is alive and well, and we must celebrate her. Let me know in the chat, what Bernice L. McFadden book have you read? Have you read Sugar? Any other works that you enjoy of her, which book should I prioritize of her next? And I'm going to gradually get these between now and next year. I'm not going to rush because obviously books, it costs money that you want to get the physical copies of. But between now and the end of 2026, I want to start gathering them. All right, and the last author is none other than Maya Angelou. I talk about her a lot on my channel. I recently read her second autobiography. So I already own 3 books by Maya. I owned Maya Angelou, Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now. I will always recommend that. This is short. It is not long at all. It's easy to read. It's less than 130 pages, okay? And look how it reads. This is great if you're looking for something to motivate you, something to get you productive, something to get you in the right mindset, especially if you're one who is kind of not on track, you're battling between past issues, or you're stuck. Go ahead and read this book. I will always recommend that. And then I also have her first 2 autobiographies. She has 7, okay? She has 7. And this is I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. This is not the original edition, but I did love purple. It's my favorite color, and it has purple in it. But I may pick up the original edition with the bird on it. That's orange. And this is her second one, Gathered Together in My Name. I rated this 5 stars. And I only say rating, but because most people, you don't rate an autobiography. It's just, was this informative? Was this good enough to read? Would you be interested in it at the time? So if you're one who does love autobiographies, memoirs, Maya Angelou is really good. Now, so far, this second one is my favorite. It is funny. She's one who, out of all the memoirs and autobiographies I've read so far, she's one who tells it like it is, and she keep it 100, okay? 100, however you want to say it, she keeps it like that, and I love that. Now, honestly, she has 5 more. I'm going to pop some of them on there. Number 3 is the next one, that's Singing and Swinging and Getting Like Merry Christmas. She also has The Heart of the Woman, Mom and Me and Mom. I'll throw some on, and then the other ones. But I want to get the rest of the 5 and read them in order, so I will be getting number 3 for sure next. I also want to get her collection of poetry. She has a book that has her full collection of poetry. I've seen it at Target. I've seen it at Barnes and Nobles. I just have not grabbed it yet, but I do want to get that eventually. Now, of course, we all know Maya. Maya lived a pretty good length of life. She was born in the late 20s, and she didn't pass away till 2014. So she was able to converse with James Baldwin, Nikki Giovanni, Toni Morrison, Malcolm, Martin. Like, she was active. She was able to visit the motherland in Africa. Like, her life was so full. She was also a mother, and so you get to see her journey from childhood and on all the way to the end of her life. And even at the end, her son Guy Johnson, before he passed away, he did mention that she was working on another piece of work. And so I hope, if it hasn't already, I hope it gets published in some type of way to be able to see what her thoughts was at the time of what she was writing about, because I believe that had something to do with the portion of her activism work and more insight into that. And so I'm excited to see if that eventually gets released in some type of way, if it wasn't fully, even if it wasn't fully revised or put together. And so yeah, those are my authors who I currently want to get their entire catalog. Once I do get their entire catalog and able to read them, I may eventually later next year, or whenever I finish their catalog, do some type of review and collection video. But yeah, let me know in the chat What do you think of that? Do you have any, or do you just collect the books as you go when you feel in the mood or what you like? But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the chat if you lasted this long. Leave a purple heart. And you always know how I close. If you've been here, you know I'm going to tell you. In the meantime, in between time, always remember to keep rising.
There ain't no other way. Pack your bags and then you will go away. I'm not gonna